Hello everyone, I just want to make a short video sermon today. I'm going to be in Ruth. I'm going to be talking about the 7 steps of approaching the Lord. It's advice that Naomi gave to Ruth. So I'm going to read Ruth 1:14 through 18. It said, Ruth and Naomi and her husband, they took their 2 sons and they went to Moab because there was a famine in Israel. And they went over there, and the 2 sons met 2 Moabitess girls and married them. And while they was over there, Naomi's husband died, and then her 2 sons died. And so she decided to go back to her homeland. And so this is she had told those girls that she was going back to Israel. She heard that they had food, and she told them that they could, she didn't expect them to go because they wouldn't marry to their sons. They had died. And they lifted up their, Ruth 1:14 through 18 in the King James Version of the Bible, and they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and to her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee or return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and whither thou lodgest, I will lodge, and thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou diest, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, that she left speaking unto her. That's one of the most beautiful passages in the Bible. Entreat me not to leave thee, or follow thee. Whither thou goest, I will go. Now we're now in Ruth 3:1 and 5. Ruth has been, she found favor in the fields over there. And she happened upon the fields of Boaz, and they left handfuls of purpose for her. She started out working in the field, and then finally she married Boaz, and she owned the field. And this is significant because Christ came from this lineage. Ruth, a Jew, a Hebrew, Ruth, Ruth, a Moabitess, married Boaz, a Jew, and the Jew and the Gentile was merged in. And Christ is from that lineage. And Ruth, Naomi is giving her advice about how to approach Boaz. And this is the way, good advice for us in approaching the Lord. It said, And Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, My daughter-in-law, shall I seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee. I did a series on the 5 senses, the 6 things God hates, the 7 Christian graces, and now this is going to be, I think it's 7 steps in approaching the Lord. And now as Boaz of our kindred, with whose maidens thou wast, behold, he winnoweth barley tonight in the threshingfloor. Wash thyself therefore. She's giving her advice. Anoint thee. We're going to talk about these in these videos. And put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor, and make not thyself known unto the man, until he shall have done eating and drinking. And it shall be when he lieth down, that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet, and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. And she said unto her, All thou sayest unto me I will do. There's a method in approaching God. You don't just approach him any old way. It's hard to teach methods to this generation because they have no protocol. In Ruth's day, you didn't approach the king in any kind of way or haphazard. There was a method. So Naomi teaches Ruth how to approach Boaz, and that's the same method we use in approaching God. Naomi gave Ruth 7 steps in approaching Boaz, and I see this as important with approaching anything or anybody. It's very important life lessons. Number 1, you must know what you're going after. You can't just meander around in life and say, find something and say, well, that's what I was looking for. You've got to know what you're looking for. You have to know what you're going after. It shall come to pass. You have to know what your it is. You can't have 50 it's. You have to know what you're going after. You have to have a specific target in mind before you even start. Ruth wasn't looking for a man, just any man. She was looking for a specific man, Boaz. Most people don't know what action they need to take, and they don't take the time to research it out and see how to obtain it, how much trouble it would take, how much knowledge and what knowledge they're going to need to get before they go after it. It's not like going on a trip. It's like going on a trip without a GPS or a map. Before you go after something, you need to ask God if it's His will for you to go after it and have it. Don't just go after it because it looks good on someone else. Make sure it's the right fit for you. If you go out after something that looks good on someone else, you may get into covetousness. Over and over in Deuteronomy, Leviticus, and Numbers, we're warned not to covet what our neighbors have. That's what happens in the church, and it causes many problems. People try to wear hairstyles and clothes that become and fit somebody else, but it's not for them. People try to work in places that becomes another, but it's unbecoming to them. If you want to be a winner and come off as someone successful and be deemed as someone significant, then you should only go after something you are meant to have. Looks good on you and fits you well. You'll also look like a winner if you pick your battles. Someone else may be gifted to fight the battle and do that thing. When you're not fit, and you're not, it will only make you look bad instead of good. Envy is an attitude about someone else's success. It's critical to know and understand there are defining moments in your life that can make or break you. It can propel you to the place that you need to go, or it hold you back. Romans 8:28 said, and we know that all things work together for good of them that love God, to them that are called according to His purpose. Just hang in here with me now, because we don't have very far to go. That's basically what Romans 8:28 is talking about. You can tell the Lord, I wasn't happy about that when it happened to me, but now I'm glad it did, because I wouldn't have been ready for this if I had not went through that. You come to realize that everything you went through was preparation for the place at the moment you're at. It should have come up with a payment for the cost. Be clear about your direction and have clarity. Don't just wake up in the morning, start meandering around without any direction, and just see what happens and just change where you're going to wind up. Get up in the morning with an agenda to make something happen. Say, Lord, what would you have me to do today? Years of mediocrity with no direction is what makes people bitter and jealous. If you want to be around depressed people, just be around people that don't get out of the bed in the mornings. People that don't have a direction. People that are bored and miserable. Some people, the people with an agenda, they have too much on their plate and their agenda to gossip. People that don't have anything going on in their life watch other people like a soap opera. People that have an agenda don't spend much time on how they feel because they got things to do. You have to know what your it is. I heard a story about a professor, and he was trying to teach priorities to his students, and he had them all a bucket. He had big rocks, smaller rocks. He had sand and water, and he asked them to put their bucket together where they get the most in it. And some of them started with the little bitty rocks and the water and the sand, but then he demonstrated what to do. He started with the big rocks. The smaller rocks just worked their way through to the bottom. Then he put the sand in. It did the same thing. And the water just went where the big rocks, little rocks, and the sand wasn't. And he filled his bucket up to the top. You have to put the things of first priority in first. You need to take your life and put Jesus in the middle of it and work everything else around it. But we put our things in the middle and try to work Jesus around that, and it won't work. I've talked about knowing what you're after and what your it is in other videos, but I think this demonstration with Naomi and Ruth that's what she was saying, to know what you're after. So may God bless you is my prayer. Until we meet again, I'll continue on with the other items, the other 6 items. So may God bless you.